And we will proceed to the next question. And before I go to the next question, which is 1B, I'll first go back to the question I had previously discussed with you. And the question was saying, name two disorders in humans caused by gene mutations. And of course, what you need to know is this. These mutations, as per my previous video, are able to get caused by substances called mutagens. So mutagens are the factors which are very environmental, and they end up speeding up the rate at which the genetic makeup can undergo what you call changes. So the spontaneous changes, the random changes, the continuous changes that may actually get associated with the genetic makeup of an individual are able to get caused by environmental factors called mutagens. They trigger the DNA to undergo changes. They trigger the bases to undergo changes such as deletion, substitution, inversion, and insertion. Some of these mutagens are like the mustard gas, what you call gamma radiations. So people have always been able to talk about these radiations such as the X-rays, what you call the UV light from the sun, you see, and some preservatives, you see, some food sweeteners, you see, some different types of chemicals that are used in what you call the food processing industries. And you have what you call the colchicine. These are chemicals that can actually be able to reach into the body system of an individual or an organism and end up causing rapid and spontaneous changes in the genetic makeup of that individual. And that might result into what you call gene or point mutations, which can actually end up causing different genetic disorders. And I've actually mentioned these disorders such as the sickle cell anemia. We've talked about the hemophilia or the bleeder's disease. We've talked about color blindness and albinism. And of course, people can also talk about what we call achondroplasia. Achondroplasia is also a genetic disorder that is associated with causing what you call dwarfism. It causes a short stature in individuals. You see, the bone of a person or the skeleton of an individual is able to only appear when the cartilage has already appeared. So when the skeleton of an animal develops, let's use animals such as the human beings, it first begins by the formation of a cartilage. Then the cartilage translates into what you call bones, and the bones form what you call the framework, the solid framework, the structure that offers a surface for the attachment of muscles in human beings. And because human beings have a type of skeleton called the endoskeleton. So we've said that the skeleton in an individual is actually able to get defined as a solid framework onto which muscles are attached. And this skeleton in animals, the human beings, is referred to as the endoskeleton. So a skeleton in human beings is called an endoskeleton. This skeleton is made up of bones. And these bones will actually result from what you call a cartilage. So the first thing to form is a cartilage, then the cartilage translates into what you refer to as the bones. On hardening, when calcium and phosphate salts, among other salts, get deposited into this cartilage. So when calcium and phosphate, among other salts, get deposited into this cartilage, the cartilage hardens. And on hardening, it forms the bones. The bones form what you call the skeleton. And the endoskeleton can be a very good example of a skeleton in human beings. So it is actually possibly able to get known that when someone has achondroplasia, then that means the cartilage as a protein fails to form. And obviously, when a cartilage fails to form as a protein, then that means we shall not be able to translate into bones. When bones are not actually formed, then that means the skeleton of this individual is going to get affected. In most cases, the upper parts of the forelimb and the hind limbs, the legs and the arms of this individual develop a short stature. They develop shortness. They are shorter than normal. Then the lower parts of these limbs, or the lower part of the proportions of these parts of the body, are able to actually develop what you call a longer stature. So there's what you call shortness in the fore parts or in the forelimbs or in the rear parts of these limbs, the forelimb and the hind limb. What translates into this is an individual with a short stature or dwarfism, normally less than 4 feet and 10 inches. So that can actually be able to just have some disadvantages to this individual, but the person can actually end up living a normal life to maturity without any problems.